Most medical problems are simple. A symptom leads to a diagnosis leads to treatment. But sometimes the body tells a different story. This is Medical Mystery Podcast. The startup that didn't make sense. At first, everyone thought it was stress. Startups are famous for it. Long hours, late nights, deadlines that seem impossible. So when the headaches started, no one was surprised. One employee complained about dizziness during meetings. Another said they couldn't concentrate on simple tasks. Someone else forgot a password they had used for years. The company joked about it. Too much coffee, too little sleep. Typical startup life. But then the symptoms spread. 3 employees developed nausea during the same week. Another began forgetting entire conversations. A designer briefly lost consciousness in the office kitchen. By the time the 5th employee went to urgent care, doctors began noticing something unusual. These people weren't connected by family, or food, or medication. They only shared one thing. They all worked on the same floor of the same office. And when investigators finally walked into that building with the right equipment, the monitor they carried began to beep. Quietly at first, then louder, because the air inside the office contained something invisible, something odorless, something the employees had been breathing for weeks. The company was small, about 20 employees, a software startup building tools for small businesses. Their office occupied the 3rd floor of a converted warehouse. Open workspace, standing desks, whiteboards covered in product ideas, designed to feel energetic, creative, fast. The team worked long hours. Late nights were common, but the atmosphere was unusually upbeat, until the headaches began. The first person to mention it was a developer. He complained during a morning meeting that the lights felt unusually bright. His head throbbed behind the eyes. Someone joked that he should drink less on the weeknights. Everyone laughed. The headache passed by the afternoon. A few days later, a designer mentioned feeling dizzy while standing at her desk. Then another employee said she felt nauseous during lunch. Still, no one thought much of it. The symptoms seemed random, minor, easy to blame on stress or exhaustion. But over the next 2 weeks, something strange became obvious. The symptoms followed a pattern. People felt worse in the mornings, headaches, brain fog, difficulty concentrating. By late afternoon, they often felt better, and by evening, once they had gone home, the symptoms faded almost completely, which seemed strange, because if the problem was stress, evenings should have been worse, not better. The turning point came when one employee fainted. It happened during a Monday morning meeting. He had just begun presenting a slide deck when his words slowed. He paused mid-sentence, then collapsed onto the carpet. The office panicked. Someone called emergency services. Paramedics arrived within minutes. By the time they examined him, he was already regaining consciousness. His vital signs looked normal. Blood pressure stable, pulse steady. He insisted he simply felt dizzy. Paramedics asked about sleep, food, alcohol. Nothing unusual. So they recommended a medical checkup and left. Later that afternoon, the employee went to urgent care. Doctors ran basic tests, blood work, electrolytes, blood sugar. Everything looked normal. The doctor suggested dehydration or exhaustion, rest for a few days, drink fluids, but when the employee returned to the office later that week, the dizziness returned within hours. Now other employees were experiencing similar problems: headaches, nausea, difficulty focusing on simple tasks. One person even described feeling confused while writing code, as if their brain were moving through thick fog. Eventually, the company began wondering if something in the office environment was responsible. The first suspect was mold. Old buildings sometimes hide moisture problems, and mold exposure can cause headaches and respiratory irritation. So the company hired an environmental testing service. Inspectors checked the walls, air vents, ceiling panels. They tested for common mold species. The results came back negative. No significant mold. Next, they tested the ventilation system. Airflow appeared normal. Carbon dioxide levels were within expected ranges. Humidity was fine. Temperature stable. Everything about the office environment looked normal, but the symptoms continued. Employees joked about the cursed office. Some started working from home more often. Interestingly, these employees reported something strange. On days they stayed home, the symptoms disappeared completely. Headaches gone, energy returned, concentration improved. But the moment they returned to the office, the symptoms came back, which meant the environment still mattered. Something inside the building was affecting people. The problem was that whatever it was couldn't be seen, or smelled, or easily detected, at least not with the tests that have been used so far. The clue that changed everything came from a doctor. One of the employees who had experienced repeated headaches mentioned something unusual during an appointment. The headaches always improved by evening, especially after spending time outdoors. Fresh air seemed to help. That detail caught the doctor's attention, because there are certain conditions where symptoms improve rapidly once someone leaves a contaminated environment. One of those conditions involves exposure to a gas that's invisible, odorless, and capable of causing headaches, dizziness, confusion, and fainting. Carbon monoxide. Most people associate carbon monoxide poisoning with faulty heaters or fireplaces, but the gas can come from many sources: engines, fuel burning equipment, generators, even leaks in ventilation systems. When inhaled, carbon monoxide binds to hemoglobin in the blood far more tightly than oxygen does, which means it slowly prevents oxygen from reaching tissues. The brain is especially sensitive to this problem. Low oxygen delivery can produce symptoms that look surprisingly mild at first: headaches, fatigue, confusion. But over time, the effects become more dangerous. Loss of consciousness, neurological injury, even death in severe exposures. The doctor recommended something simple: test the office air specifically for carbon monoxide. When environmental inspectors returned to the building, they brought a different kind of monitor, a handheld carbon monoxide detector. At first, the device was silent. The lobby showed normal readings, so did the stairwell. But when they reached the third floor, the monitor began registering something. Low numbers, not immediately dangerous, but higher than normal indoor air should contain. As the inspector walked deeper into the office, the readings climbed. Near the conference room, near the break area, then they reached the server room. The monitor alarm sounded. The source was located quickly. A backup generator designed to power the building during outages had recently been installed in an adjacent maintenance space. Its exhaust system had a small ventilation floor. Not enough to fill the building with deadly gas, but enough to allow small amounts of carbon monoxide to seep into the air circulation system. Day after day, hour after hour. The levels were low, too low to trigger most building alarms, but high enough to cause chronic symptoms. Especially during the morning when the employees first entered the space after the building had been closed overnight. Fresh air throughout the day diluted the gas, which explained why symptoms improved by afternoon and disappeared entirely once employees left the building. The startup's strange medical mystery wasn't stress, or mold, or burnout. It was slow, invisible poisoning. The building was evacuated immediately. Maintenance teams shut down the faulty generator. Ventilation systems were flushed with fresh air. Carbon monoxide levels returned to zero within hours. Employees were advised to seek medical evaluation. Blood tests confirmed mild carbon monoxide exposure in several workers. Fortunately, the levels had never reached the stage associated with permanent injury. Within a few days of breathing clean air, most symptoms resolved. Headaches disappeared, memory returned to normal, the strange mental fog lifted. The company eventually returned to the office after repairs were completed, but the experience left a lasting impression, because the most dangerous threat they had faced as a company was something none of them could see. Carbon monoxide is sometimes called the silent killer, not because it strikes instantly, but because its earliest symptoms look ordinary. Headaches, fatigue, confusion. Exactly the kind of problems people often blame on stress or overwork, which means the warning signs are easy to ignore until the pattern becomes impossible to dismiss. In this case, the clues were there from the beginning: the shared environment, the morning symptoms, the improvement outdoors, the brain struggling to think clearly. A puzzle hidden, not in the body, but in the air surrounding it. Sometimes medical mysteries aren't diseases at all. Sometimes the problem isn't inside the patient. Sometimes the problem is in the environment everyone assumed was safe. An office full of people building software, slowly poisoned by the building itself, and saved only when someone finally asked the right question. Not what's wrong with the patients, but what's wrong with the air they breathe. This has been the Medical Mystery Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like on the video. Thank you for listening.